Cbabi Bayoc, Cbabi Bayoc.
I'll give you a summary of what we're going to talk about. Obviously, just to welcome you to our school again, encourage you to talk about your experiences at Lebanon High School and what you've been doing since. Would love to hear your influences through through the arts, especially related to African American artists.
Well, my association is Ms. Barker reached out and asked me to come there and do a mural. Has it been 2 years? Um, it was definitely a height of COVID. It was a very interesting period, but yeah, that's what brought me to the school. And um, yeah, I've just actually ever since then, it's been really cool. I'm glad I came. And actually, my family lives in Arkansas, so we drive by the Lebanon exit often. And so I'm also always reminded of the feeling it felt to stay there for a week plus. So I actually had a good experience there. So
Excellent.
I enjoyed it.
Well, my heart is lifted every time I walk by the mural. I show my students the mural.
Yeah, I usually do a sketch just to get permission to get in the building. And then once I get in, I let it change. I don't usually say that up front because, you don't want to weird or freak out your client. But I'm very I've pretty much worked on it, in the space of improvisation. Like I have my sketch there, but that doesn't mean I know what the finished product's going to look like. And so, even with that mural there, I may have had the tractor in there, but I'm always reminded of the yoga pose with the camouflage. That's still my favorite part of that whole mural because I thought that really spoke to the mural, spoke to Ms. Barker, her mission, bringing kids to St. Louis. Like, yeah, that was a great unexpected addition.
Where you developed those traits of improvisation and adaptation?
I think one is reading the room, and two is, this is my 29th year going on as a full time artist. And so at some point through all the projects I've done, you just learn to click out and trust that your hands and your, artistic encyclopedia will show up when necessary. And so I sometimes have doubts, have worries when I go in, but it's like as soon as I pick up a brush and paint, and I get in front of the wall, like it just happens.
Excellent. How would you describe your style?
Emotion. I made it up. It's just line, light, and emotion. Like I don't really have. I got a lot of influences. I'm influenced by sculpture, influenced by graffiti, influenced by children's books, um, portrait artists, caricature artists. And so I'm working. Well, I don't even have to work at it. I think all those things are just merging all into one thing. So, and I've always loved murals. I love collage artists. And so I just take from all those things and just here we are.
Are there any artists that you're currently looking at or kind of studying?
I don't study anybody in particular. I live on Instagram, like most of the students probably in there. Like I live on Instagram, like where my wife will make fun of me at times, like because I could wake up or go to bed, and I'm like in my phone, like, and I love to go into search, so I find new things outside of my regular feed. But yeah, I just always love looking at art. So, and I just can't. I just see it everywhere. Like I'm seeing it right now in my living room, my kitchen, right? Ever, even in degrading of Black folks, we've always been used in art to sell things. So it's always been present. But as an actual artist, I'm often reminded that Harlem Renaissance, which was in the 1900s, was the first time Black folks intentionally painted each other to show representation. But even still, most of them died broke unless they became professors somewhere or they moved to Paris. And so actually being able to live a very good life as an artist is very new and young. I think that's why Jean-Michel Basquiat is so praised, because he he kind of broke into the world, meaning they were buying his stuff, but they really still didn't accept him. He's still a big dollar sign. But I think about all that when I think about this. We just got out of the 50-year anniversary of hip hop. So I think, as somebody said, until August, we're still in that 50th year. But just to think of how what was once looked at as a fad and something that people didn't want to listen to is now so influential to where, yeah, students won't even realize it now, but I can listen to them talk in the hallway, and they might not even realize they're influenced by hip hop and from these poor black kids in New York. Like, but the way that we talk, the way that we dress, whether you got camo, you got a rebel flag on your face, and you got your pants sagging, you're still influenced by black folks. Like, so, and it's not a bad thing. It just, that's how impermeated our culture is into this whole society. I think me and Amber are intentional about representing ourselves. Like, we have our own gallery. Um, we're controlling our narrative and how we put out, and so I think that's what we're seeing a lot now, more of, especially Instagram. A lot more musicians can, like Toby in Wigway. I don't know if y'all are hip to him, but I listened to him while I was there. But he's an artist out of Houston who is on a label, which really isn't a label. He kind of controls his own narrative. He does his own tour. I think that's what we're stepping into. So, yeah, black art and film and everything in this world is so. It's always a dominant conversation, whether people want to agree with it or like it, dislike it. It always brings up good, healthy conversation. So, I'm glad to be in this space and to be able to do what I do. Yeah, and the fact that I can go to my studio and paint something, I don't know if somebody will buy it or not, but then on my online store, somebody will buy an image of something that I like. And, you know, a lot of times, most of my purchasers of my originals have been non-black. It's changing a little bit, but it also just speaks to, I'm glad y'all are talking about it in school, because a lot of people don't. Art's just not talked about. Art's not talked about as something to purchase, to collect. We talk about it in terms of something to admire, but not as something to bring into our home and enjoy and to tell our story or to let people know the things we think about. So that's kind of our mission 2024 going forward. Like, yeah, we give away art. Our whole idea is getting art in people's homes by any means necessary, whether it's by purchase or by me walking up and giving it to you. But when y'all draw something, it's nice to be validated by somebody. When somebody takes your piece and puts it up, it's like your story matters. Like, as inconsequential as it might seem, like, you don't know what you do or what part of your life speaks to somebody else. Like, you don't know who's watching you when you walk around. Like, so it's the same thing when you're doing your art. Like, you don't, yeah, you might not think you matter or your thoughts, but people see you. Yeah, so it's nice when somebody hangs your artwork up that's telling you, like, you know, yeah, your story matters.
Their art has a part of their history and their story involved. Um, how would we frame it for teachers to understand how to start these conversations and have a meaningful dialogue?
I say, with not even just a teacher, with anybody, step into it with intention. Like, don't stop yourself from sharing messages, sharing examples, sharing, because even when we think people aren't listening, they are, you know.
Cbabi, one of the themes you did was 365 days with Dad. Would you describe that for us? Because I think that really helps understand maybe some of your themes and you know, development.
2012, I took, well, it was supposed to be a year, but I took 2 years to paint just black fathers and their children. I did it through Facebook. It started off as just a project to generate income for myself, but it quickly turned into a bigger statement. And yeah, so I took 2 years and painted 365 paintings, which each painting had more than two faces on it. So you can imagine how many portraits I did in that 2 years. But that was one of the hardest and the most important projects, you know, I've ever taken on. You know, I wouldn't do it again if I thought about it, you know, but I'm glad I didn't stop myself or let anybody stop me from doing it, because it's been influential in my career to this date. But yeah, I mean, I have the tattoo 365. I have it tattooed on the back of my neck too, you know, as a brand. But yeah, it was probably the most important project that I've ever done, and it's gone. It's, yeah, the legs, they go as far as Miss Barker's reach. Like, I think I was in Selma and somebody brought her up. Like, y'all don't know how far your teacher's name goes, right?
What got you into art, like, as a young kid, like, just growing up? What made you, like, start your career?
So I can always draw, but it wasn't until I was going to graduate high school that I even thought about art at all for any real reason because I had to go to junior college, and I was good at math but bored with math, and so I chose art. And then there was a guy there who I watched do more than the teacher asked, and that was interesting to me. So that pushed me a little bit. And then honestly, I went on to another college, Grambling down in Louisiana, and made that my major. And I just decided then I didn't want to work for anybody, but I didn't know what that meant. But I've been trying to figure it out ever since. So yeah, somebody, and actually it's funny because somebody bought something, just like we talked about hanging artwork up. Somebody bought one of my pictures, and I love that high and that feeling. So I feel like I'm chasing that high, like I'm chasing the next purchase.
Cbabi, you've done a number of album covers or working in collaboration with musical artists. Could you describe that for us?
Come here in front of my computer.
Yeah, I've done an album cover for Prince, the little purple guy that people know, Purple Rain. He bought some artwork and used it as a cover. A group called Field Mob, rap group from the 90s, Violator, and I had a few other projects that I've done. And just recently I did one for a jazz musician here in St. Louis, Peter Martin. I did that. You can see that live on YouTube where I was painting while they were doing their live recording. So
what would you say is your favorite project you made?
My favorite project? It's usually one I'm working on. That sounds like a hokey doke answer, but everything I'm working on, I just finished an animation project for something here in St. Louis, which was my first time ever. I didn't love the whole process, but actually after doing my part and seeing them animated, that blew my mind. So I'm looking forward to sharing that with the world.
Yeah,
I meant Lebanon mural was my favorite project.
Of course.
Thank you. Well, we ended up in a TED Talk. I think that ranks us up there.
That was whether y'all want me, I'm in the story, y'all. I'm in part of the family. I'm part of the alumni.
Part of the story, part of the family for sure.
I'll see y'all soon. I'll make sure